Hello my friends and welcome back. Thank you very much for being with me again today. If you have been watching my videos for some time, you heard me say that the Russians are consistent in good or evil, right meow meow? My cat is here. So good or evil, and I use the same expression. If the Russian says he's going to give you $1, he's going to give you $1. If the Russian tells you that he's going to punch you in the face, he's going to punch you in the face. So that's exactly what they do in the Baltic Sea. And that is, they smack everybody who dares to touch their fleet, their vessels. And how they smack them? With the planes and with their navy. I said it before, the Russians will do this. If you tried to impound any of our vessels, we will have them accompanied by our navy, military. I said it before. I covered 2 incidents, actually 3 incidents in the past 5 days, maybe 4 days, and one was the guys in Estonia, 1.3 million people total population, out of which about 23% are ethnic Russians. So that's 1 in 4, 1 in 5 is Russian in Estonia. That tells you something, right? And the Estonia impounded one shadow fleet from the Russians. And the Russians sent one Sukhoi 35, entered the airspace of Estonia, and the Estonians released the vessel. That's the way you do. Smack. The Poles went around a Russian vessels with their planes, which was in, not vessel, I'm sorry, it was airplane. No, it was vessel, and was doing some strange maneuvers in the Baltic Sea, in the international waters. They didn't dare to do anything. Then Finland, 2 Russian jets entered Finland's airspace yesterday, and I covered all that in right here, videos. 2 jets enter Finland's airspace. Finland takes a shit. How one Russian fighter jet beat Estonia's military. Sukhoi 35 enters Estonia's So these were covered on 21st and the 26th of May incidents. And the Polish are somewhere else in another video. But that's 2 of them. And then in this video right here that I made, UK+EU prepare naval blockade of Russia. Russia will use navy to protect ships, according to Nikolai Patrushev. And this video was made in April 22nd. So that means the Russians said, I'm going to give you a punch in the face if you dare to do anything with our navy. Hopa what's going on here? New Voice of Ukraine, the today's video topic. Russia uses warships to protect Shadow Fleet. Didn't they tell you this? A baboon from Finland. Finland says, I'm going to show you a map too. Russia has begun providing military escorts for tankers from its Shadow Fleet in the narrow waters of the Gulf of Finland. Got it? Let me show you the map to see where that happens. Alright, so here is a map. This is Russia, evidently. This is Estonia right here. These are the Baltic states. This is the Baltic Sea right here. The Gulf of Finland is right here, south of Finland, between Estonia and Finland and Russia. This is the Gulf of Finland where the incident occurs. The Russians are going to expand it everywhere if they can. If they have the potential, we'll find out. And remember, the only way the Russians can bring anything to St. Petersburg right here, very important town, city, is this way. Gulf of Finland right here, Baltic Sea, right? Why the Russians don't name this the Gulf of Russia? As Trump named it the Gulf of America. Anyway, Baltic Sea, through Denmark, this little bullshit. This is where the Nord Stream pipelines were blown up, this area. And then they go here in the North Sea, and then they go into the Atlantic Ocean, right? There you go. So that's the only way the guys can come. And take a shit there. So this is where the Russians are escorting. I suspect that the Russians will start expanding their operation all here. I guarantee. There's too many baboons here. Estonia, Latvia, Lithuania. Total population 6.1 million people. This is also Russia right here. This is Kaliningrad. This is Poland, where they apprehended that Russian vessel right here in this area. Suspicious activity, like what? Like sailing from there to there? Exactly. And here we have it. Let's see what these guys are going to do about it. I tell you what they're going to do. What London tells them to do. Russian military presence in the region has always existed. Oh, now you figured it out? What's new in the current situation is that Russia is now escorting commercial tankers from its shadow fleet through the narrow passage of the Gulf of Finland using warships and armed forces. Wow, really? Finland Navy has also reported a noticeable increase in Russian military traffic in the area. You just took a shit right there, Finland. 2 Russian jets, and they were MiG-31, I think, with, how do you call them, with Kinzhal hypersonic missiles. Whenever you see or you hear a MiG-31K, I think it is, taking off, the West takes a shit. If it carries a Kinzhal hypersonic missile that can carry nuclear warheads, they're all like, ready? What are we gonna do? So that's what Finland got. 2 MiGs coming over Red Rover. These guys act like that's a surprise. While Han Kang said there is no immediate threat to Finland, he warned of broader implications. Really? What are the broader implications? What are they? Do you remember? Right there. Russia Today. Russia to respond to West attempted restrictions in Baltic Sea. Putin aid. Nikolai Patrushev, this is the article I made. European Union and UK preparing naval blockade of Russia. Putin aid, the same guy, Patrushev. Hotheads in European capitals should be aware that Moscow's Navy would be able to protect its shipping. April 22nd. You got it, baboons? So there's no surprise here. So what do you think will happen? Well, I super dare one of these guys to think that they have balls. And that is Poland, the Baltic states, maybe Finland, Sweden is shushing, and Denmark, because Denmark is listening to the Americans. Denmark is America's beach, it's not London's. The Baltic states and Poland is America's too. But the Poles think that they are equal, almost equal to the great powers. Let them be. When they get two oreshniks on their heads, we'll see how powerful they are. Anyway, I hope it doesn't happen. Just so you know. So nevertheless, what's going on over here? Some hotheads will be, you gotta shoot them. You gotta try to break the Russian shadow fleet. And they're gonna try to do what? To provoke the Russian military, Navy. The Russian military, I guarantee you, will respond with live ammunition. I guarantee you. How do I know that? I will give you one example. Two examples, clear examples. Do you remember? It was right at the beginning of the garbage in Ukraine. I think it was right or at the beginning, before, after, something in between 2021 and 2022. When that mighty, I think it was 2021 before, because otherwise the British Navy could not have entered the Black Sea, even though I think they have operational Navy in the Black Sea. Surprise, surprise. That one was coming closer to the Russian, to the Crimean, claiming that Crimea is Ukrainian and they can come whenever they want. Do you remember that provocation? Do you remember what the Russian Navy did? And what did they do? What did the Brits do? Left with a tail between their ballless ass. Okay, that's where they left. So the Russians had no problems with Great Britain. I think they welcome, come to me. I think that's how it was. And the second example is that Reaper drone. America. Remember the Reaper drone going towards Crimea, and the Sukhoi 34 took a shit on them and burned its propeller and took a shit in the Black Sea. So if the Russians have no problem hitting the Brits and the Americans, do you think they will have a problem with Finland or Estonia or, I'm sorry, Poland? But that's not the point. The point is proxy war. The Brits were not there to fight anybody, not even Albania or Cyprus. Let's put it Cyprus, okay? Or Malta. They were not there to fight them, but they will use others to fight for them. So they will use these imbeciles to provoke Russia with something under the sanctions, because these guys in Estonia, in that video that I made, their justification for impounding the Russian vessel was Great Britain imposed sanctions, therefore we enforce it. Are you their bitch? Yeah, they are. So, I'm sorry, a female dog. They're not a bitch, they're a female dog. That's how I'm going to use it, so you just know. When I say female dog, your in head should be the bitch. All right. So they said we're going to enforce those guys' sanctions, not our sanctions, Great Britain's sanctions. So when this guy's going to try to do something, we're going to enforce against something that's not ours and not in our interest, the Russians will, yeah, and you know what these guys are going to do? As the Brits did. And then all the media will say, see, the Russians unprovoked attack against our ship came to see enforce the sanctions. Enforce the sanctions. That's what they're going to do. And the Russians will say, and the bottom line is, what the fuck are you going to do about it? You're going to start a war with us? And Estonia, the Baltic states, and Poland, they know Russia has no patience for these guys like they have for their brothers, Ukrainians. Because over there they know. With these guys, no, you had a big mouth, big beak. They're going to smack it. They're going to be like, remember those cartoons? That's exactly what they're going to do. Punk, punk, punk. And unfortunately, the people from Estonia, Latvia, Lithuania, and Poland will have some damage done to them by the evil Russians again. And the media will give you the narrative twisted upside down and left to right, right to left. The Russians told you, don't touch it. Remember, it's all about eventually who has the power. If I show up at a debate with all of you guys, and you just show up, let's have a debate with this motherfucker here, and you show up in a room over there, and you're like, nothing. And I bring on the table, I put an AK-47 in front of me on the table. Let's debate, brothers. Who do you think will win each and every debate? Me. Why? I got the weapon. You have nothing. Maybe you have some knives. Bring them on. Okay? So it's all based on that. As an example, I will give you Joseph Stalin according to Truman, Harry Truman. When Harry Truman met in Potsdam, I think it was in Potsdam at the end of the Second World War, what's his name? Stalin, the Georgian, not the Russian, the Georgian Stalin. Over there, Truman said, you know what, Joe, there's in Poland, when they carved Europe, when the free world gave the criminal Soviets half of Europe, for which supposedly they fought against Germans, not to give the Germans, but they gave it to the Kaganoviches in Russia and Trotskys in Russia. Trotsky was gone by then, but anyway, there are some other Yogodas and others. They gave it gladly to those guys, half of Europe. Truman said, you know what, according to Truman, Poles are Catholic. Can you take it easy with the Poles in Poland? Said the Pope, and this is Stalin. How many divisions does the Pope have in Poland? Truman, I guess the bullshit from America doesn't work with the real world. And he shut the fuck up. He realized that Stalin was talking only in the terms of strength. And that was after the Americans dropped the atomic bombs in Hiroshima and Nagasaki. War crime. And Stalin said, how many divisions does the Pope have in Poland? Nothing. So shut the fuck up. Basically here, you gonna start a war with us in the Gulf of Finland? I don't think so. Bring it over. And the Brits will say, yeah, go, go. And the baboons, That's exactly what's going to happen. So, consistency. Thank you very much for being with me again today. Stay strong, stay smart, look for the truth, and be just. See you later.